about this for a minute.
Why?
We've got orders to cross here.
That is the German front line.
If we're not clever about this, no one will get to your brother.
I will.
I suppose the story my grandfather told me, he fought in the First World War. He was 17 when he arrived. It always stayed with me, and one particular story of carrying a message across no man's land, and I thought, what a great idea for a single journey, for a movie. And when I came to have the confidence to write my first script, that was the story I wanted to tell. It just wouldn't let me go. It kept pulling and saying, me. So that was why I went to it. And then once I decided it was going to be in 2 hours of real time, it seemed obvious to me that it should be one shot, because I wanted to lock the audience in with the central characters so that they experienced it in exactly the same time as the central characters. The difficulty was how to do it, but the why was an emotional one. I wanted them to feel time passing, I wanted them to feel the distance, understand that they would have to live through everything that the characters lived through, whether they wanted to or not. I love working with Roger. It's the fourth time we've worked together. Every movie has been different. The last movie we did was Skyfall, and it couldn't have been more different in many ways. You know, Roger is very much like me in that he wants to create a style specific for each movie. He doesn't shoot each movie in the same style. He understands there are different rules for different films, and I needed somebody who was going to embrace the one-shot idea, which he did. And when you're very, very used to working with someone, you have to use less and less words. You know, so on a good day, maybe you don't hardly talk to each other at all. You just look at each other and nod. That's the one, you know, or whatever. So it becomes almost a telepathic thing where you know what each other is going to like and not like. And that comes with, you know, working together for 15 years. And so then we had to, a lot of what he had to do was a job of engineering, because the camera may feel simple in its movements, but sometimes it's on a wire, sometimes it's Steadicam, sometimes it's on a crane, sometimes it's on a Jeep, sometimes it's on a motorbike, sometimes it's handheld. Every stage has different challenges. And then it all has to link together as if it's effortless. We didn't want it to be jerky, handheld, but we knew it had to keep moving the whole time in a kind of smooth, almost threatening way. So then it became about how to achieve that, and that took a lot of time to rehearse and experiment, and we had to design rigs that never existed before, and even a new camera. Ari developed a new camera that was a tiny body so that we could take it into holes and trenches and dugouts, and it could go anywhere we wanted it to go. Yes, I think if they hadn't been good, they would have taken you out. But for me, the reason they're well known, those actors, is because they're very, very good. And I needed authority and status and power in those scenes. And in a way, I needed the audience to feel like these ordinary men's lives were intersecting with lives that were bigger than theirs. But we just passed through. So you pass through Colin Firth and Benedict Cumberbatch and Richard Madden. I needed that authority. And I think that the movie needs the kind of boost of a new character coming in and a new way of talking and a new face, and it needs charisma, you know. And so yes, I on the other hand, I wanted the audience to have a relationship with the two central characters that was very new. I didn't want them to have any associations at all. I just wanted them to think, well, who are these men and why these two? Because I suppose I wanted them to feel that with 2 men amongst 2 million, it's random. You know, these just the 2 that we happen to be following in this story. Yeah, I don't think it's, for me, I think this movie could be made about 2 German soldiers, 2 French soldiers, 2 Belgian soldiers. I don't think it's specifically about the British experience. I think it's about the human experience of war. So I didn't, mostly the enemy, the Germans, are out of sight. And when he does meet them, you know, he comes face to face with one in the burning town at night. He looks just as frightened and just as confused as everyone else. For me, everyone in the movie is lost in the fog of war, and so it's not particularly nationalistic statement about the British were the good and the Germans were bad. It's about the confusion and chaos, and the fact that these people went through it for something bigger than themselves. They sacrificed themselves for an idea, and that idea was to have a unified Europe, a free Europe. Ultimately, that's what they were fighting for, which is something that we should all remember now, I suppose.
Good luck.